What is happening, football fans? Welcome back to this week's playoff edition of Gridiron Glory. I'm Josh Huntsberger. Tonight, our West Virginia teams wrapped up the regular season, while 5 of our Ohio teams geared up for postseason play. Tri-Valley and Trimble were the first to test the playoff waters in Divisions 2 and 6, with our other 3 teams playing on Saturday. To see if the Scotties and the Tomcats were able to advance, let's get going. Now, after a tough-to-swallow 3-point loss to Wheeling Park last week, Parkersburg South entered tonight 5-4 at the number 19 spot in AAA ball. Tonight, they hosted a 2-7 John Marshall team on senior night with hopes of solidifying a winning record. Along with some help from other teams, a win could also sneak them into the playoffs. We're now joined by our West Virginia reporter, Ian McConville. Ian, in order to have any chance at the postseason, they had to take care of business tonight.
Definitely, Josh. Parkersburg South head coach John Bolin expressed to me earlier this week that he and his team were well aware that their playoff chances looked bleak. Needing 4 teams in front of them to lose does not bode well in terms of postseason qualification. But the Patriots were bound and determined to end this season on a huge high note. Parkersburg South takes the field at the Erickson All Sports facility for the final time this year. For senior quarterback Tyler Bolin, he'd get off to a rough start tonight. He'd be flushed out of the pocket on this play. He's looking downfield, but he would find someone, only he's wearing the wrong colored jersey. That's number 17, Evan Majors, making the interceptions, and the Monarchs would capitalize big time. A 69-yard touchdown pass from Jeremiah Fromart to Magers, and he's in the end zone. John Marshall up 7-0 early. That was as competitive as this game would get, though. Braxton Johnson takes a handoff up the middle, a 35-yard touchdown scamper to tie the game at 7. And then following a John Marshall 3-and-out, Jordan Kiocho gets in on the scoring action. A 14-yard touchdown run down the right side. Patriots up 14-7. John Marshall threatening, but the defense comes up big for the Patriots. Fromhart finds Magers, but the ball comes loose. Kiocho falls on in the end zone. South wouldn't capitalize on the turnover, however, and then the JM drive would get back on the ball. On 4th down here, Fromhart keeps up the middle. He gets 8 yards of his own. JM drive would stall, however, and Logan Cox sets South up with a great chance to score. 23-yard scamper down the left side, and that would lead to this. Kiocho down the sideline and into the end zone from 28 yards out. South up 21-7. Monarchs threaten to cut the deficit to 7 before half. Fromhart takes this ball up the middle for 13 yards, and he's finally forced out of bounds there. But later in this drive, Fromhart trying to find a man in the end zone, but Braxton Johnson says, "This ball belongs to me." Interception in the end zone to end the half. From there, South would roll. They go on to a 56-19 win. As a team, Parkersburg South had 329 yards rushing on 34 carries, an absolutely dominant performance on the ground for the Patriots tonight.
Well, Ian, the Patriots definitely did their job tonight. They dominated this one.
Absolutely, Josh. They definitely bounced back after that tough loss last week, ended the season on a huge high note for them. Definitely a lot of momentum as they carry it over into next year.
All right, well, if this was their last game of the season, they definitely went out with style, but what's that playoff picture looking like?
Well, it definitely doesn't look good for Parkersburg South. Oak Hill, a team in front of them, got a huge 60-6 win tonight versus 0-9 Lincoln County. Logan, another team in front of them, got a huge 16-3 win. Even with the win, it doesn't look likely that South is going to play in postseason.
All right, well, that's unfortunate for them, but they had a great season overall. Thanks a lot, Ian. Now, if you'd like to keep up with Peace South or any of our West Virginia teams throughout the week, check us out on social media. You can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at Gridiron Glory for score updates, pictures, and more. You can also follow my host Twitter account at gghost_JAUSH. There you can get my opinions on weekly matchups, ask any questions, and let me know who you think will win each game of the week. Well, folks, the song remains the same in the TVC-Hocking. For the 3rd straight season, Wahama won the conference and reached the final week of the regular season without losing any games. A win tonight would clinch 30 consecutive regular season victories and a top 5 ranking in single-A ball. But with a 7-2 Buffalo squad coming to town, Wahama would need to keep their focus. We now welcome our TVC-Hocking reporter, Mike Bunt. Mike, they've clinched everything they needed to, but there was still a lot going on in this game tonight.
Yeah, they had a lot to play for tonight. With the playoffs quickly approaching, the Wahama White Falcons were playing for more than just pride against Buffalo. A win against the Bisons not only would capture the White Falcons' 3rd consecutive undefeated regular season, but would also give Wahama a huge win entering the playoffs. Early on, we see some fireworks here, and fireworks would be exactly what we would see the entire night tonight. And they got started early. Jordan Tucker gets the ball for the Bisons, but he fumbles it, and we see it right here. Benny Euchers gets a recovery for Wahama, and then you see the big boy running for some yardage here, get into Bison's territory. Wahama's trying to thinking we got to score right here. Trenton Gibbs He's going to pass it, going deep into the end zone, trying to find Crandall Neal, but the pass is incomplete. Isaiah Robinson with the breakup right there. And then you see the Bisons, they respond once they get the ball back. A 14-yard pass from Levi Jordan to Lathan Good, which sets up another pass right here by Jordan, a 16-yard pass to Tucker. And you see the Bisons up 7-0 early. A surprise. Nobody expected to see Wahama trail early. But Wahama then, they respond with their own drive of their own. Walmsley gets a 15-yard run here, right here, and then finishes it off with a 3-yard touchdown run to tie the game at 7-7. Walmsley right here on the sideline, clinching his thirst, get that Gatorade, man. And then later you see Levi Jordan, he's trying to make another play. Gets a huge pass right here. Kane Rouse with a huge hit, but that would be a helmet-to-helmet contact. Jordan ends up running it in from 2 yards out. You see Buffalo go up 13-7, but in the ensuing kickoff, Kane Rouse doing what Kane Rouse does best right here, returns it all the way for a touchdown. Wahama just goes on top 14-13. It's just one of those days. Buffalo makes a big play, and Wahama just finds a way to respond somehow, and Wahama just keeps on going at it. You see Walmsley break off a 21-yard run right here. Add that on top of the late hit. That's a 36-yard play. He sets Wahama up for another touchdown right here by Zach Walmsley, and they would go on top 21-13, going to half 27-13 before going on to win 41-13.
Wow, well, Wahama, 30 straight consecutive regular season wins. What's the playoff picture looking like for the White Falcons?
Things are looking good for the White Falcons right now. They're going to probably most likely be a 2 or a 3 seed in the West Virginia playoffs, most likely taking on Tug Valley this next week.
All right, well, just talk about just that winning streak in general. How impressive is that for this program?
This winning streak is very impressive right now. You look at that, 3 consecutive regular seasons without losing a game, and the last 2 times they've done that, they've gone to the state semifinals and to a state championship game, so that is a sign of good things to come, it looks like, for Wahama.
All right, well, 2 key names that have helped them along the way, Zach Ramsley and Kane Roush. Talk about their play.
Kane Rouse is one of the most exciting guys in the country. Entering today, he had over 1,100 yards, averaging over 19 yards per carry. And then you look at Zach Wamsley, added 2 touchdowns today and over 140 yards rushing. This running back duo is the best in the TVC-Hocking and really the reason why they're so dominant so far.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick, Mike. Do you think Wahama can take this one all the way to the state championship?
I think they definitely can. They're one of the best teams that we cover, and I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up making a run.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. Great job tonight. Now, Gallia Academy and Athens have been 2 of our most exciting teams to cover this season. From their head-to-head shootout in Week 1 to the lengthy winning streaks that took them to the playoffs, these teams have turned some heads. Since they're both the high seed in the same region, we may see them face off again down the road. We now welcome Carter Rodriguez and Sarah Vallone to give us a little preview on both games. Carter, we'll start with you. There's a lot going on in this region.
Well, Josh, Athens will be playing host to the Circleville Tigers tomorrow, and Gallia Academy is going to be hosting Archbishop McNicholas Rockets. Now, Sarah, is there a chance that these 2 teams are going to be able to square off in this regional?
Well, if Gallia and Athens do meet again, it will be in the regional finals. But if that happens, it will be a bittersweet matchup for Athens, as the first time these 2 teams met, Gallia took it.
You're right, and that would be an incredible matchup, but let's rewind to this week because we got to play still before we can even talk about that future matchup. Now, Sarah, this Athens offense can really hum, but can the Tigers keep up with the Dogs?
Well, if there's one thing that these 2 offenses have in common, it's that they rely on their quarterback. Joey Burrow ended the season with 2,475 passing yards and 38 touchdowns. Now, Circleville's QB, David Burrows, try not to get those names confused, has 1,957 total yards with 26 TDs, throwing to his usual receiver, Rushy Shaw. But it's not Burrow's arm that makes him Circleville's go-to guy. It's his 1,221 rushing yards for 20 touchdowns that gives him an edge.
And he's a really great quarterback, but even if the Circleville team gets the offense going, they're going to need to get stops to keep up with Athens. How's the D look?
Well, I talked to head coach Ryan Adams earlier this week, and he said that their defense is bigger than they've ever seen before. So he wants his team to control their defense and allow Burrow to get the reads downfield and make the usual plays he does. So as long as the Bulldogs can hold the defense and play like they did last week against Nelsonville York, they should be able to get the W. But enough about Athens. What about this Gallia McNicholas matchup?
Well, the Rockets finished 7-3, and this isn't really a particularly big team. Head coach Mike Orlando really likes to get the job done with speed on both sides of the ball, and Mike Eddie really isn't expecting them to allow a lot of big plays. Now, on the offensive end of the ball, he says they're kind of the mirror image of the Blue Devils. They run the spread and a little quarterback read option as well, and that quarterback, that's Austin Ernst. He is a top-flight quarterback. He checks in with around 2,900 total yards and 30 total touchdowns. And if you're looking to take away just one part of this offense, try again, because 5 different receivers have more than 20 catches on the year.
Well, it doesn't seem like it's going to be an easy game for Gallia. What are they going to have to do to get that win?
Well, they're just going to have to play composed. They won't be getting a lot of big plays, so they're going to have to dink and dunk down the field. Coach Eddie confirmed the team that they will have Ty Warnemont suiting up. That's the explosive running back for Gallia. So that he'll add a big play element to the offense, but really it comes down to Player of the Year candidate Wade Jarrell. Can he manage the game as a quarterback? We know he's an athlete, but can he avoid the turnovers and keep the ball out of Austin Ernst's hands? But these two teams are coming in hot, so it's prediction time. Sarah, can Athens take the win?
I definitely think Athens will be able to take the win, even though it's a bigger defense than they saw before. Athens has too many weapons on their offense to not confuse this defense. What about you, Carter?
Well, I think this Gallia Academy team just has too many weapons as well. They've got Ty Warnemont, they've got Wade Jarrell. What else do you need? This team is built up to make a regional title run. But Josh, we've said all we can about these teams. They're just going to have to play the games.
Hey, well, a lot of confidence coming from you two. Thanks a lot tonight. Now, as you heard Sarah and as you've heard all of us preach all year long, this Joey Burrow kid has some skills. With the pocket presence of a senior and the legs of a running back, this sophomore has made a strong case to be the next Gridiron Glory Player of the Year.
What can't Joey Burrow do? During the regular season, the first-year starter led the Athens Bulldogs to a 9-1 record in their second straight TVC-Ohio championship, but he hasn't stopped there. The sophomore signal caller also broke the Athens single-season passing record, throwing for 2,475 yards and an amazing 38 touchdowns while completing an unbelievable 67% of his passes. The Bulldogs quarterback isn't afraid to spread the wealth either, as he has completed passes to 7 different receivers, and 4 of those receivers had at least 6 touchdown grabs. But Burrow can do it on the ground as well, as he was the Bulldogs' second leading rusher during the regular season, rushing for 581 yards and an additional 8 touchdowns. Not only is Burrow putting up video game-like numbers, but he has also been a perfect field general for Coach Ryan Adams' complex no-huddle offense. Under Burrow's control, the Athens offense averages 54 points a game and appear to be almost unstoppable. Joey Burrow will look to keep the Bulldogs season alive this Saturday as they host Circleville at Basil Rudder Field.
Now, to vote for Joey or any of our other finalists, send an email to playeroftheyear@woub.org. All you need to do is type the player's name and hit send. We are only allowing 1 vote per person and have already received over 1,000 votes, so keep up the good work. Now, our first playoff matchup of the night comes with Trimble and Colonel Crawford. A decisive victory over Federal-Hocking last week gave the Tomcats their first home playoff game since 2008. Combine the long week of rain with their heavy rushing attack, and you get one muddy advantage for the Tomcats. We now welcome our TVC-Hocking reporter. Keith, this is a big game, and we're going to have to say that there's a lot of games. This is a game of firsts.
Absolutely, Josh, you're right. Game of first for Trimble. They are playing their first home playoff game since 2008, in which they beat Caldwell 26-8. And for the visiting Colonel Crawford Eagles, this is their first playoff game in their school history. This matchup looked great on paper, including 2 great quarterbacks in Connor Stanley and Nate Klingenberger, and 2 very hungry teams looking for a big victory. And how about some great sportsmanship? Both bands playing the national anthem together. Tomcats, now first possession, Connor Stanley's going to find Austin Downs for a very nice first down completion, and that would set up a few plays later, a trick play. Stanley pitches it back to Downs. Downs is going to run, he's going to scramble, he's going to look, looks like he's going to throw. Josh, guess who he's going to find? Stan the Man Stanley for a 15-yard completion there, and they wonder why I call him that, and here's why. He's going to finish off this drive on the ground. That's 6 for the Cats. Next possession, Nate Klingenberger is going to be sacked by Aaron Schnuver. That defense was incredible all night. Then Klingenberger is going to try to connect with what looks like a wide open receiver, but that's just out of his reach. That's going to force a punt. And next Eagle possession, Klingenberger is going to get sacked once again by Casey DeGarmore. He would be injured on that play. Big loss for them, Josh, because now backup Cameron Landon's going to come in. The high snap, he gets drilled, forces another punt. It's only 6-0 at half. Stanley, Player of the Year candidate, getting warmed up before half. Huge run here by Stanley, puts them inside the Eagle 10, but not after 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 and 6 broken tackles.
Too many to count.
Too many to count, you're right. And now Jacob Coons is going to cap off that drive, put the Tomcats up 13-0. And next possession, Stanley's going to line up in the backfield. A nice first down rush for him. He was all over the field, and he's going to finish off this drive as well. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground. He's just incredible. Next possession, Landon's going to try to get something going, but he's going to find the freshman, Justice Jenkins, a pick six, 27-0 for the Tomcats. But after that interception, Landon's going to come back, throws a strike to his receiver, is going to find him inside the Trimble red zone. Then Landon is going to run, roll out, but he's going to get clobbered here. That defense was hitting all night. Boom! Ooh. Big hit there, but Landon would find the end zone, would be the only touchdown for this offense, 41-6. Trimble was dominant tonight. And guess what? I mean, 35 points in the second half. They only had 6 in the first half. Come back in a huge second half, 35 points. Just a dominant victory for them tonight.
Well, that's tough for Colonel. Their first playoff game ever, and they lose their quarterback. But I think it's safe to say Trimble wasn't given anything tonight. They just look good.
Absolutely. I mean, this defense was incredible. They gave up 6 points to a team that averaged 35 points per game. Not to mention, they only gave up 64 total yards. So this defense, led by Connor Stanley and Jacob Coons, was just absolutely incredible tonight.
All right, now, Trimble, they are sitting at the 3 seed, playing Newark Catholic next week, who is the 2 seed, so they'll be the low seed in this one. What are they going to have to do to get the W?
Well, I mean, first of all, it starts with defense once again. 14 points in the last 8 weeks. 1.75 points per game in the last 8 weeks. That's exactly what's going to get it done for them. And then tonight they showed a ground and pound. They were very patient with that running game. Connor Stanley was great on the ground, and so was Jacob Coons. So Trimble, with that ground and pound, they may be able to get some stuff down. And once again, Connor Stanley, absolutely incredible tonight, just like he has been all year, and that's why he's Gridiron Glory Player of the Year candidate.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about what he's meant to this team. How far can he take them?
Well, I think he can take them. Basically, Trimble goes as far as Connor Stanley can take them. This guy has been incredible. He caught a pass today, threw for touchdowns past the year, and had 3 on the ground tonight. He's just been incredible all year.
All right, quick prediction on that game next week. Who gets the win, Newark Catholic or Trimble?
You cannot go from Trimble in this hot defense. I say 21-6. Trimble gets the upset.
All right, thanks a lot, Keith. We'll be looking out for that next week. Now, John Glenn got off to one of their hottest starts in recent memory before dropping 2 of their last 3 games. A huge reason for the Little Muskies' success was running back Blake Adkins. And although Adkins was injured the night we announced him as a Player of the Year finalist, his game still speaks for itself.
Why should you vote for Blake Adkins as your Player of the Year? As junior running back and punt returner, Adkins was the backbone of a John Glenn team that amassed 234 regular season points on the way to their first winning season since 2008. He lit up New Concord with big plays all season long and was key to the Little Muskies' resurgence back into the MVL. On just 68 rushing attempts this season, Adkins accumulated 728 yards, averaging 10.7 yards a carry. Not only can Adkins run the ball, but he is also a threat out of the backfield, averaging 18.5 yards a catch. Atkins ended the 2012 season with over 1,076 total yards, accounting for almost 40% of the total John Glenn offense, also leading the team with 14 touchdowns. As punt returner, Atkins helped the offense by consistently putting the Little Muskies in good field position. He averaged 22.3 yards a return, which included 2 return punts for touchdowns this year. When Atkins is on the field, there's always the potential for something special to happen. Vote Blake Atkins as your 2012 Player of the Year.
Now, once again, you can vote for Blake or any of our other finalists at Player of the Year at woub.org. Each person gets 1 vote, and all you need to do is send the player's name. Now, another Division III team that will have to hold off until Saturday is Maysville. The Panthers finished 2nd in the MVL and made the playoffs for the first time in school history. Sure enough, Craig Clark and his boys are being welcomed to the big show with a tough road game against the powerhouse of Steubenville. We now welcome our MVL reporter, Brad Hawley, to give us a little bit of a preview on the game. Brad, very tough draw for their first ever playoff game.
Yeah, it's fitting, Josh, that a Maysville team, a team that has never made the playoffs, have to go up against one of the most decorated programs in OHSAA history. The Steubenville Big Red have won a combined 9 state titles, including 3 since the playoff system started. After finishing the season at a perfect 10-0, they are led by, Steubenville is led by head coach Reno Sukach, and their strength is the offensive and defensive line. Josh, if you like ground and pound, smash mouth, old school football.
Oh, and I do, buddy. I do.
You'll like this team. They're averaging 214 yards a game rushing, and It was a close game last week. They won by 3. They still trusted that offensive line to have 50 rushes.
Wow, so obviously the offensive line is going to be a big part in this game for both teams, really. But what are some of the key factors for Maysville if they want to get this win?
Well, there's a couple key factors, and one of the biggest key factors is to start fast. Against a ball control team like Steubenville, their forte is not throwing the ball. So if you can get in the lead early, they will have to throw. They will have to try to go through the air to come back, and they may never get in rhythm. The second big key is stopping the run. And wins this year for Steubenville, they've had 250 yards average, and losses just 74. You're going to have to worry about number 32, Dashawn Redmond. He's their power back, bulldozer type running back. And the third big key is big plays in the running game. Coach Clay Clark thinks that his 3 big running backs, C.J. Harris, Jordan Hayes, and Eli Chambers, can get big plays if they can get outside the defense.
All right, well, do you think that they will get those big plays and get their first ever playoff win?
I don't think so. Steubenville I think their size is going to wear on Steubenville, or wear on Maysville, and I think that they're going to lose by about 7 points, but it's basically a toss-up.
All right, well, we'll stay tuned to see on that one. Thanks a lot, Brad. Now, after finishing the season at a perfect 10-0, Tri-Valley started their playoff journey tonight against Tecumseh. Yep, this is the same exact round 1 matchup that we saw last year. So you don't need to adjust your TV, and you aren't having deja vu. Now, after rushing for over 300 yards with 4 touchdowns last season, in this same matchup, Austin Jones had plans of sparking the Scotties' state title run in our game of the week. We are now joined live from Dresden by our MVL reporter Colin Brown. Colin, Tri-Valley was the favorite in this one, but Tecumseh was out for blood.
Well, there's nothing sweeter than the taste of revenge. And Friday night, that's exactly what the Tecumseh Arrows were looking for. Now, last season, the Tri-Valley Scotties sent the Arrows home for the season with a 48-30 win. And Friday night, this game had all too a familiar feeling. The first play from scrimmage, 80-yard touchdown run by Christian Evans gives Tecumseh the 7-0 lead. What? The Scotties are trailing? Yeah, I can't believe it either. All right, so 5 plays later for Tri-Valley, 10-yard touchdown run by Austin Jones, but a missed extra point makes it 7-6. Then Tecumseh takes a 99-yard kickoff return by Jake Iyer, 14-6. But 2 possessions later, Strock to Devin Moran. The 2-point conversion is good. It's 14-14, all tied up. Now Tri-Valley defense sets in, forces the 3-and-out, and Austin Jones takes the sweep 40 yards to his left up the sideline. And then 3 plays later, Austin Jones gives Tri-Valley the lead 21-14 with a 2-yard touchdown run. Now late in the second quarter, Austin Jones takes the ball on a draw up the middle, stumbles but keeps on his feet out to midfield, 26-yard pickup. Now 27 seconds left in the half, the play right out of the timeout. Nathan Strock throws it up to the corner to Trevor Kruskoff, 28-14. The Scotties have the lead. Yeah, that's right, he just did that. Now the state playoffs, the Scotties have been there the past couple of years, but is 2012 the year of the Scotty? Now first possession of the second half, Tecumseh, 3rd and 4, 37-yard pass into Tri-Valley territory, plus the horse collar tackle. That sets them up for a Jimmy Rowland 12-yard touchdown, 28-21 Tri-Valley, but they answer. The 13-yard Austin Jones touchdown run makes it 34-21. This guy doesn't just do it on offense, he does it on defense. There's the forced fumble to give Tri-Valley the ball back. 3 plays later, he scores 40-21. But Tecumseh hanging around, 4th and 3, 11-yard touchdown for Buchanan, plus the 2-point conversion, it's 40-29. Now Strock fumbles, and Tecumseh gets the ball back. 6 minutes left in the game, 4th and 1, game on the line, bobbled snap. Quarterback tries to dive forward, doesn't get it, and Tri-Valley's got the ball back and controlled the game. 8 straight run plays for Austin Jones, and he eventually puts it in the end zone on a 2-yard run to give Tri-Valley the 47-29 win. Austin Jones, Austin Jones, Austin Jones. I can't say it enough. He had 31 attempts, 268 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Josh, I told you earlier in the week, he is the dog of the Scotties, and boy was he Friday night.
Well, Colin, you also almost predicted exactly what this Tri-Valley offense would do, but you also said their defense would step up as well.
Well, Josh, I told you that their defense would step up and wouldn't give up those 30 points, and I was right. They only gave up 29. So, you know, I wasn't too far off on that one, but they looked really good in the first half. Tecumseh had those 2 pretty lucky plays, the 80-yard touchdown run and then the 99-yard kickoff return, where Tri-Valley had real good coverage. Locked the guy down on the 15-yard line, but he escaped. But they did look good in that first half once they tuned in.
All right, well, not only is Austin Jones their workhorse, he definitely knows how to play against this Tecumseh football team.
Well, no doubt about it. Last year he had 308 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like I had just said, he had 268 yards and 5 touchdowns, so boy did he carry the workload. But what's really special about him is his defense. 14 tackles tonight. He had a forced fumble, a sack, 2 tackles for a loss. He led the Scotty defense on the year with 54.5 tackles through the first 10 games. And, you know, he's also a wrestler for the Scotties. It really shows. You can't escape his tackles.
All right, Colin, well, next week they face a familiar opponent in New Albany. So real quick, before we let you go, how are they going to beat them?
Well, next with New Albany, things that they need to fix is they missed a couple extra points, you know, capitalizing on things like that and stopping the run.
All right, well, we'll see if they can work on the little things next week. Thanks a lot, Colin. Now, to keep up with Tri-Valley and to catch all of the action from our Saturday games, log on to our website at woub.org/gridiron. There you can find score updates and recaps for the Athens, Gallia Academy, and Maysville games. You can also check out final standings, playoff progress, and previews of our Player of the Year finalists. It's now time for the Hollywood segment of our show, so all you superstars out there, focus up for your favorite part of the night, another edition of our Plays of the Week. We're going to start things out with Trimble and Connor Stanley, and he, you know, we call him Connor Stan the Man Stanley for a reason. He flips this here to Austin Downs, who's going to pass it. Just kidding, he's going to run it. Nah, he's going to go ahead and pass it back to guess who? Connor Stanley, who, contrary to popular belief, believes that size does not matter. Makes the catch there. More from this game later. Here at number 2, Wahama, they were down 13-7 on this kickoff, and Caden Roush puts the team on his back. You heard his name earlier. Makes the kicker miss with a nice little juke move. And, you know, he'll look back a couple times, but Wahama won't. They will win this one 41-13. At number 1, coming back to Connor Stanley. The little guy, looking like Marshawn Lynch, disappears in a cloud of white. Spin move. Keeps the feet trucking all the way. Man, he's tough. And then gets to the outside. 122 yards on the night and 41-6 victory. Hey, well, both of our teams that kicked off playoff action tonight were able to advance. Next week, we'll take you to Trimble's matchup against second-seeded Newark Catholic. We'll also see another Tri-Valley rematch when they take on New Albany. Don't forget to check out our website to see if Gallia Academy, Athens, or Maysville will have what it takes to see if they can get to the second round. That's all for tonight, folks. So until next time, and for the entire crew, I'm Josh Huntsberger reminding you that there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.